This video is about this video is about how to fail well. Failing, it happens to all of us. Maybe you picked the wrong spell that morning, or you didn't buy the equipment that you thought you were going to need. Maybe you didn't answer the Sphinx's riddle. Or maybe it's just our old friend rolling a natural one. But failing doesn't have to be the worst part of your sessions. And in some circumstances, I think that failing can be a lot more fun and interesting than your successes. So let's look at some of the ways that you can be a loser. I mean that you can be a big loser. I mean that you can get better at losing. First of all, think about what caused the failure. This takes a little bit of work from both the GM and the player, but take time to consider why whatever it was that was happening didn't go the way that it was planned. Now, if it was just down to a bad roll, then now I say think about that as a complication along the road, not just the sudden end of the path. If you're trying to sneak past a guard, and you roll lower than the check that's needed, that's a great chance to narrate what's happening as opposed to simply just getting told or saying yourself, you failed the check, now you're caught. So as the GM, how might that guard react? Is it a situation where the character is just simply asked to turn around, or if they're lost? And as a player, what could your character come up with on the spot? They could try to bluff or bribe the guard, or maybe just pretend to be a tourist? I don't know. But the point is, a failed check can easily open up the possibilities of new, exciting ways out of this predicament, as opposed to just being a hard no. Next, I think that as a player, it's really important not to fight against that failure. If you, the player, are sure that there is a treasure chest somewhere in this room, but your search check just doesn't give you the results, don't keep trying to find ways to bargain or convince the GM to let you roll again. And along the same lines, it can get really frustrating if there's an entire table of players that make the same check one after another in order to try to just work around the odds of low rolls. I say just go with it. Just roll with it. Okay. Embrace the loss in character. Keep things moving along. Honestly, look, if what you missed is some kind of key plot device, most GMs are going to find a different way to make sure that you end up with that magical little MacGuffin. And for the most part, GMs want you to have cool stuff, things that your characters will like, and things that are going to help the story of the party. So don't worry about missing out on that shiny new toy. Let things play out and keep a positive attitude after a bad roll.
Thanks to all of our patrons, especially Joan. If you like what we do and want to support our channel, head on over to our Patreon page. There you can get access to our Patreon perks, and you can join in on our community discussions.
There are other ways of dealing with failures and mitigating and complicating those failures at the table by the use of some house rules. Now, one house rule that I really like is to play with fumble tables. I did this back in 2nd edition, and there are plenty of campaigns and systems out there that actually have fumble tables built in, and I think they're a great tool. So the idea is that on a critical failure, however your game determines what a crit fail is, the result isn't simply that the action or the check or the attack fails. The player then rolls on that fumble table. It's usually a percentile, and they have to deal with the consequences of what the table says. Now, in combat, that result is usually something like you drop your weapon or you pull a muscle and get disadvantage for the rest of the fight. But sometimes it can get really complicated, like accidentally cutting yourself or knocking yourself unconscious. When it comes to fumbles on the spell fumble table, it can get wild, from wild magic surges to accidentally targeting a friend instead of a foe, or vice versa, to a completely different spell in your inventory. And skill checks can get really fun too, with long-lasting consequences. Fumble tables are really awesome, and there's a lot of them out there that you can find from old systems and settings, as well as some pretty cool fumble tables that you can buy from other creators out on the internet. So check out a few and see if there's something that you'd like to add to your games that's in them. What do you think is important for being a good sport when losing in your games? What can players and GMs both do to keep things positive? And have you used tools like a fumble table or some other kind of alternative rule for failures? I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and until next time, I'm Ryan. Thanks. Bye. All right. I just poked myself in the eye. Awesome. Fail. Fail.